The ongoing case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Honduran immigrant, has become a central and highly contentious issue in the national debate over immigration. Abrego Garcia's journey through the U.S. legal system is complex and has drawn scrutiny from all sides. He was initially deported in a move the administration now calls an administrative error, despite a prior court order protecting him from being sent to his home country due to fear of gang violence. After being returned to the U.S. to face criminal charges, he was recently released from a Tennessee jail. However, this freedom was brief. Just days after his release, he was detained again by ICE during a routine check-in. His legal team has accused the government of a vindictive and retaliatory act, especially in light of the government's threat to deport him to Uganda, a country where he has no known ties. This threat came after Abrego Garcia rejected a plea deal that would have resulted in his deportation to Costa Rica. His lawyers argue that the government is using the immigration system to punish him for exercising his legal rights, raising serious questions about due process and the political weaponization of immigration enforcement. The recent detention of Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a complex issue driven by several factors. The administration's primary reason is its claim that he is an MS-13 gang member and a human trafficker. Federal officials allege that his re-detention is a necessary step to protect public safety and ensure he is removed from the country. This narrative is a central part of the administration's tough stance on immigration and is used to justify its policies. However, Abrego Garcia's legal team and supporters argue that his detention is an act of vindictive prosecution. They assert that the government is punishing him for successfully challenging his previous wrongful deportation. This argument is supported by the fact that the government's threat to deport him to Uganda, a country where he has no known ties, came only after he rejected a plea deal that would have sent him to Costa Rica. His lawyers argue this is an unconstitutional use of the immigration system as a coercive tool to force a guilty plea. The immediate consequence of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's re-detention is the continuation of his legal and personal ordeal. After a brief period of freedom following his release from criminal custody, he is once again in the hands of immigration authorities, facing the very real possibility of being deported to a country where he has no ties. His lawyers will likely file new legal challenges to prevent his removal, particularly to a country like Uganda, which they argue is a form of punishment. On a broader scale, this case has significant consequences for U.S. immigration policy and the principle of due process. Critics argue that the government's actions, from the wrongful initial deportation to the current threat of deportation to a third country, demonstrate a willingness to use the immigration system as a tool for political retribution. This erodes public trust in the justice system and sets a dangerous precedent, suggesting that individuals who challenge government actions may face severe and retaliatory consequences, regardless of the legality of their original claims. Finding a solution for Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case involves a multi-pronged legal strategy. His legal team is actively challenging his detention and potential deportation by arguing for vindictive prosecution, claiming the government's actions are a form of punishment for his prior successful legal challenges. They have filed a new lawsuit to prevent his removal, particularly to Uganda, and are seeking a court order to ensure he receives a fair trial and due process. Beyond the specific case, broader solutions to this type of situation would require systemic changes to immigration policy. This includes ensuring all individuals, regardless of their immigration status, have a right to legal counsel in deportation proceedings, much like in the criminal justice system. Additionally, solutions should address the use of immigration detention as a coercive tool and establish clear, non-retaliatory guidelines for the government's use of its authority. This would help prevent the use of deportation as a form of punishment and uphold the principles of fairness and due process.